This is Embrace Your Inner Boldness, a podcast about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. I'm Melissa Henning-Frank, coach, guide, and founder of Becoming Bold. I help you strip away the conditioning, reclaim your voice, and rise into the power that's always been yours. Let's get right to it. Hey, thanks for tuning in. It's hard to believe, but we are well into the new year of 2026, and those resolutions, intentions, or words for the year are hopefully sticking. And if not, and if you're like me and tend to do well when there's an ending and a beginning to kind of help start fresh, the year of the snake ends February 16th. So February 17th is the beginning of the year of the fire horse. So if you brought in some crap from 2025 that you want to get rid of for real this time, here's your sign. And with that, let me start this episode with a question I want you to actually answer. And not just nod along to, not overthink, and not brush past. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how fulfilled and satisfied do you honestly feel with your life right now? Not how it looks or how it should feel. Not how you explain it when someone asks how you're doing. I mean, really. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is that for you? And if it's not a 10, here's the real question. Why are you tolerating less than what it could be? Because if I'm being honest, I've done this. I stayed way too long in situations that drained me, environments that didn't support who I was becoming, patterns that felt familiar but didn't feel right. And I didn't stay because I was weak or clueless. I stayed because I wasn't being truthful with myself, and I kind of didn't know better. I told myself things were fine. I minimized what wasn't working. I denied how dissatisfied I actually was. I told myself I didn't know the next step. I told myself I should just be grateful. And a big one for me was believing that wanting more made me selfish. Like, if I needed more peace, more support, more alignment, somehow that meant I was asking for too much. And when everyone around you is also tolerating less than they deserve, then tolerating becomes normal. But listen to me when I say this. Just because something is common doesn't mean it's healthy. So let me say this plainly. If you're dealing with the same shit year after year after year, the same resentment, the same sadness, the same irritation, that same low-grade anger, what are you even doing? Nothing changes if nothing changes. If you're unhappy or unfulfilled with the way things are, do you realize there is a way out? And it's not as intimidating or daunting as you might be thinking it is right now. It pains me to see people tolerating less than they deserve year after year after year with the same complaints, the same issues, the same problems over and over and over. And I'm not perfect. I've done this too, so I'm kind of an expert. I had to create a solution because continuing in a way that made me feel unfulfilled and unhappy was not okay with me. I could not do it anymore. So if you're open to it, let me walk with you over the bold bridge. This is a framework I created as a way to show and guide others to make changes, to go from who they are today to who they want to become. And the first step is break through barriers. This is where you get real. And I don't mean dramatic or shamey or harsh. I just mean honest. So think about who is in your orbit right now, or even in your past. Who is influencing or who has influenced how you think, how you live, and what you believe is possible? Are the people around you stressing you or supporting you? And I don't mean, do they love you? I mean, do they support the version of you that you're becoming? Love without alignment will still keep you stuck. So ask yourself, who drains me? Who challenges me in a healthy way? Who reflects my future, not just my past? What environments make me shrink? What environments help me expand? And then comes the second step, own your impact. This is where we stop pretending we're powerless. So hang on tight, this one is a doozy. And this part is also incredibly uncomfortable because self-sabotage usually doesn't look dramatic. It looks ordinary. It looks like your everyday. For example, do you say you wish you had more time, but you consistently stay on social media or binge Netflix longer than you intend to? Do you say you want to be in better shape, but you don't keep promises to yourself when you say you'll work out for 30 minutes? I'm guilty of this. Do you know that certain foods irritate your system and still eat them anyway? And then you get frustrated when your body reacts. Do you avoid holding boundaries because you're tired? Or you don't feel like it's worth the fight? Or you don't want to make someone uncomfortable? That's self-sabotage. And I don't mean this to sound like judgment. I just need to be truthful with you. Because those little behaviors you repeat every day are shaping your future. And in the moment, they don't feel like a big deal. You tell yourself it's just today. You'll deal with it later. You're not ready yet. So I want you to zoom out. Think back over the last 3 to 5 years of your life. When you look at that chapter as a whole, what was the theme? And I don't mean the specific details, but I mean the tone of that time frame. How did you feel most of the time? Stressed, rushed, surviving, healing, growing, numb, proud? What did you actually accomplish during those years? Not what you hoped to do, but what did happen? Were the last 3 to 5 years of your life as fulfilling as they could have been? And ask yourself honestly, are you good with that? If you are, that's incredible. So if you are, pause and acknowledge that. That means something is working. But if you're not, if there's disappointment, if there's grief, if you feel like you stayed longer than you should have, if you feel like you played smaller than you knew you were capable of, if you wish things were different now than they were 5 years ago, then this is your moment of choice. Because now, look forward 3 years from today. When future you looks back on this chapter, what do you want the theme to be? Do you want to think, I did it again. I tolerated the same things. I lived the same patterns. Or do you want to think, that's when I started keeping my promises to myself. That's when I stopped avoiding what needed to change. That's when I took charge of my life. And let me name another sneaky form of self-sabotage. Some people say, I wish things were different. I just don't have time to focus on that right now. So let me ask you this. What is the cost of that belief? Because here's what usually happens. Your days stay busy. They stay hectic. They stay unfulfilling. You keep running from one thing to the next. You keep postponing the changes. And underneath it all, resentment builds. Resentment towards your schedule. Resentment toward other people. Resentment towards yourself. And somehow you're saying you don't have time to do anything to make that different? That's not a time problem. It's a self-protection pattern. A lot of people are afraid that change will take a massive amount of work, that it'll be overwhelming, that it will require blowing up their life. And that is false. Most change starts small, with awareness, with honesty, with one boundary, with one habit shift, with one decision. Even writing this stuff down counts. You don't have to leap into courage yet. You don't have to design the whole future yet. Just getting real is a step. That's breakthrough barriers, and that's owning your impact. Those are the first 2 steps towards who you're becoming. This is the way to a more fulfilling life, because you deserve more than a life that you're simply tolerating. So once you've gotten real and you've owned your impact, the next steps don't need to be dramatic. And this is where lead with courage comes in, the 3rd step on the bridge. And courage in this context is not about blowing up your life or making humongous declarations. It's about movement. It's choosing one small action that aligns with who you want to be instead of who you've been tolerating being. And that might look like upholding one boundary you've been avoiding, adjusting one habit that you know is draining you, saying no where you've been saying yes because you're exhausted, saying yes to something that supports your future self, even if it feels uncomfortable. Courage is built in small moments. And every time you choose yourself, you strengthen that courage. So the next step is design your future. And this is where you stop reacting to your life and you start being intentional with it. It doesn't have to be a perfect plan. We're looking for direction and clarity on your goals. Designing your future can be as simple as naming what you want more of and naming what you want less of. It's identifying what needs to change in the next 90 days. It's writing down one goal for your health, your work, your relationships, and your peace. It's deciding what you are no longer willing to tolerate. Small steps, clear choices, 1% better every day. That's how real change happens. And if you're listening to this and thinking, okay, I'm ready, but I don't know what to do next, then that's exactly where support matters. You don't have to figure all of this out alone. If you want to keep walking this path with me, here's how you can stay connected. Follow me on the socials and subscribe to my email list. There's a link to all of this in the show notes and then the bios of my socials. The weekly email is where I share the deeper, more tactical tools, the reflections, the frameworks, the worksheets, the prompts that help you get out of your head and into action. I also work with individuals and teams through coaching packages and workshops, and I use tools like the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator and the Thomas Kilmann Instrument to help you understand yourself better, communicate more clearly, and stop repeating the same patterns. Self-awareness changes everything when you know how to use it. So if you're ready to stop tolerating and start designing a life that actually fits you, I'm here. This is the work I was born to do, and I'd love to support you as you take charge of your life. If you're searching for your purpose, but settling in your everyday life, your purpose is being blocked. When you start thinking differently about your own power, when you get honest about what's not working, when you decide to take responsibility for your choices, your environment starts supporting you in the way that you need it to. People enter your orbit who support instead of stress you. Opportunities appear that feel aligned instead of draining. Your reality changes because you changed. You felt the fear and you did it anyway. Take charge of your life. It's time. Until next time, please be kind to your mind. That's it for today's episode of Embrace Your Inner Boldness. If this stirred something in you, don't let it fade. Screenshot this episode, tag me at Becoming Bold LLC, and share it with someone else who's ready to rise. And hey, if you haven't already, take a second to subscribe, rate, and review the show. That's how we spread the boldness and keep this movement growing. Whatever came up for you today, feel the fear and do it anyway. You don't need to wait for perfect timing or permission. You are powerful. You are ready. And remember, the only limit to your boldness is the one you set for yourself. Until next time, stay bold, stay curious, and keep becoming you.